everyone, and welcome to Prune Insiders. I'm your host today, Michael Adams. Now, before I announce our special guest, I just want to announce we do have shirts for sale now. If you see it, if you like this, you can see it on my Facebook. All you have to do is send me a private message, or you can send me a text at the number in the description below. But without further ado, everyone, please welcome Tammy Pendergast.
How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a mom of one. I work at New York State Courts, and that's about it.
All right.
I am a dog lover, so.
Oh, cool. Me too. So, all right. How long have you been with Frank?
About 6-7 years now.
All right.
About
And
right.
how'd you guys meet?
We actually met like 30 years ago. In our 20s, we used to work together. And there was a group of us that worked together, and we were all friends. And that's how I initially met Frank. And then he looked me up probably like 10 years ago or so on Facebook. And because I had lost touch with him when I left that job. And he looked me up about 10 years ago, and we talked a little on Facebook. And then after my divorce, or while I was going through my divorce, we reconnected. I had gone down to an open mic, and he was there, and we reconnected. And that's that's pretty much how it started. So we became friends, and we hung out, and then over time, we developed a relationship. So
all right, that's cool. And when did you find out that Frank had prune belly syndrome?
30 years ago, when I first met him, he told me about it.
All right.
I never heard of it at that point. But he shared a lot of what he went through as a younger kid, as an adult back then with me. And then when we reconnected, he told me more about what he goes through, and what it's like to live with it.
All right. And what would you say are some of the challenges dating a prune belly survivor?
I don't know that there's challenges, because in any relationship, you're going to have challenges. We all come with our own baggage, our own scars, our own problems. The biggest thing is understanding his health, and making sure he stays healthy. And on the few occasions he's wound up in the hospital for various things, it's always complicated by prune belly, because he doesn't have fully functioning kidneys, and the doctors don't always understand what prune belly is if they don't have a background in it. So you need to be their advocate when they're sick, and make sure that the doctors aren't treating them like a regular patient, and they're taking into an account the curveballs prune belly can throw in there. So
yeah, I especially like how you said someone with a background in prune belly, because this is a very difficult condition, to say the least.
Yes, because no two are the same.
Yeah.
What you may experience, he experiences something different. That's what I have found being, part of the prune belly community, is knowing that each one of you have your own unique, you all share that same, disease name, but you don't all share the same qualities of what, how you experience it. So.
All right. And just out of curiosity, how involved are you and Frank in the network?
Before COVID, we were doing fundraisers a few times a year. And we would go to the conventions. Obviously, COVID has done away with a lot of that. So we're not doing the fundraisers that we were doing. We haven't been to a convention, because of his health. We have to kind of stay back more than we'd like to. So,
Yeah. So, what were some of the challenges you guys went through with COVID?
The biggest challenge is he couldn't really go out. He was confined to the house. So, my mom lives with me. She's 82. So anytime they needed anything, medication, food, or whatever, if it couldn't be ordered or brought in that way, it was me going out to get it. Because even though you could prepare to order things and have it delivered, you're always forgetting something. So, or something comes up that they need immediately. So that has been the biggest challenge is, getting everybody the things they need safely so that nobody wound up sick. And, I was working. So, I always, posed the threat to them coming in because, as careful as I could be, I'm still out in the world with people who are potentially infected. So I want to say for a good portion of 2020, if I was working in the office, I would immediately come home and shower and put those clothes in a bag and wash them immediately before I talked to or touched anybody in the family. I was, in a shower cleaning up, and that might have been excessive, but it also kept COVID out of our house. I mean, knock wood, we're over 2 years into it and nobody in the house has had it. So we did something right.
Yeah. So, what were the conventions like?
The first one for me was overwhelming because as much as Frank could tell me what Prune Belly was like for him, hearing everybody's stories, especially people who may have lost children to it, was very emotional, to sit there and hear and see, right up and close and personal what people go through. It's overwhelming because you're coming from a different, point of view. I've never experienced. So it gives you a very good understanding of what Prune Belly is like for everyone who has it and how it differs, and no two cases are really ever the same. And the challenges, like some of the challenges that some of the people there shared were different than what Frank went through. And when he was in the hospital, I definitely, spoke with his mom in detail about his history. So I knew it as well as she did, because that's very important. Because if she wasn't there, at least I can advocate for him and make the doctors understand how he should be treated, because he doesn't fall under that umbrella where, okay, this works for 99% of the population. He's in that 1%. So,
Yeah.
But the conventions were great. The first one I went to was a little, like I said, was a little overwhelming, very emotional. I learned a lot. I enjoyed meeting everybody in, the Prune Belly network, and, have made a lot of friends from there, and, watch their kids grow. And, I see the challenges they face. And as a mom myself, I give the parents a lot of credit. I give them a lot of credit because, I see what they go through. Some of these kids are sick and have had, dozens of surgeries before the age of, 5 or 6. So, it's challenging. But as you know, Prune Belly survivors are tough, and they're very sweet and, talented all in their own way,
Yeah.
So I call them a rare breed. So.
Yeah, definitely matches. So, all right. I gave a speech at the high school I used to go to that taught K through 12. It was a private school, and afterwards, this student asked me a good question, and I'd like to see how you would answer if that's okay.
Sure.
So, in my lecture, I mentioned that prune belly is kind of an invisible disease that you don't really know who has it unless they tell you or show you. So, the question was, if it's an invisible disease, how would you quickly explain it to somebody who's never heard of it?
Quickly explain it. They were born with little to none stomach muscles that can have an effect on the lungs, the kidneys, and go from there. That's the basics, how I would explain it and have explained it.
Yeah.
And I said, imagine, your muscles or your core, it holds everything in. Imagine not having those muscles to protect your organs. Becomes very dangerous for that person.
Yeah. So, just you said you work for the court system?
Yes.
Now, how has that affected you with COVID and your job and everything? Like, has you been put on hold or work from home or anything like that since then?
In March of 2020, I think my last day of work, because I was declared a non-essential employee, we were told not to come back after that day. It was a Monday.
Okay.
And we did not re-enter the building. I started working from home late April. And then I want to say the beginning of June, because they started to weed us in slowly. The beginning, like the first week in June, I started going back 2 days a week, where I was in the office physically 2 days a week and home 3 days a week, working from home. So the challenge was learning a new system, because back then we were using a different system, and it was a matter of balancing your work, what you could do at home and in the office. And then I want to say by the end of August of 2020, we were 3 days in, 2 days home. And then we went back to the 2 days, 3 days. And then in 2021, when the vaccines came out, we eventually went back to 5 days in. So it was a challenge, because now I'm working from home, and I'm here working. I'm not, home, even though I'm physically here,
Yeah.
But again, even going in for that period of time, even if it was 2 or 3 days a week, I would shower the minute I walked in the door and wash my clothes, just to make sure I wasn't bringing home anything with me that I didn't want them to get, because there were no vaccines. And, unfortunately, Frank had lost a lot of friends to COVID. And, I had family members that had it. One was on a ventilator for like 3 months, but thankfully pulled through. But this is early on in COVID. So we didn't even, want to entertain Frank getting it. And Frank had been very sick in late December, January of 2020, and in the hospital with bilateral pneumonia. So he was really still recuperating from that. And that is another thing that our prune belly warriors don't always bounce back as quick as other people. They may take a little longer. So I guess that is a challenge, understanding that. So, but like everybody heals at their own rate. So.
Yeah. So how has prune belly syndrome affected your relationship?
I don't know that it's affected it. It's a matter of understanding. I look at it this way. We all have something about us, that we bring into a relationship, and you either accept that person for it or it's not going to work. So it's, understanding that when he gets sick, the quicker we react to it, the better it will be for him overall. He also has diabetes on top of his prune belly. So that when he first got his first and second COVID shot, he got sick with a fever. So, I took off the day that he was sick because his sugar kept dropping, and I unconscious because he, even with a slight fever, he's very out of it. So, I was here to make sure that that sugar stayed at a level and wasn't plummeting, down into the 40s or anything like that. So I would wake him up periodically and give him something to eat to bring that sugar up. So,
all right. Now, has prune belly ever affected like your plans for the future or something along those lines?
I don't know that it's affected, anything other than like we haven't been able to go out, like we used to. We haven't traveled. So it's affected it that way. But I think that would be not just because of prune belly, anybody who's immune compromised. You're going to have to deal with that, that's just part of COVID. I don't know that I would really say, oh, this is a prune belly thing. And, because prior to that, prior to COVID, we would go out, we'd, eat out, we'd travel, whatever we wanted to do, go to the movies, go here. But with being immune compromised, with COVID, you have to bring that back a little. So,
yeah. Just out of curiosity, are you guys vaccinated?
Yes, we're both vaccinated and boosted.
All right.
And because we're both over 50, we're both entitled to a second booster.
All right.
So Frank is going to get it through his doctors, they're the hospital, and I will make an appointment and get mine. So.
All right. And what advice would you give somebody who's about to enter a relationship with a prune belly patient?
Probably very similar advice I would give anybody. You have to go into it knowing that any relationship, knowing that this person has certain challenges, be very open to it, be very open to talk to them, understand how they feel. And on the same token, you need to communicate to them how you feel about things, and, what your fears or, things that you worry about, the biggest thing is making sure they stay healthy.
Yeah.
That's it. You gotta, and that's not only for him, it's for me, because if I'm not healthy, then I can't take care of anybody, so.
Yeah. Sometimes keeping them healthy or staying healthy is the hardest part.
It is. It can be challenging, but that could be with anybody. If you have a low immunity, even if you don't have a rare disease, if you have low immunity, that can be challenging for anybody. So, but I will say, in general, I find people who have prune belly, they're all very kind-hearted, and they're good people, and they're talented, and I think, they're amazing. They're courageous, and they're fighters, and I always tell Frank, he's my angel. So he's my angel. So
Definitely a family.
yes, it is, and it's a very good family.
Yeah.
So
what are some of your good memories with Frank?
Oh, well, good memories as like in a trip or overall? Overall. Well, every day is a good memory. We laugh every day. We're silly. We try to keep we know you have to be serious in life, but the overtone overall is always laughs. He's my best friend. He's my buddy. We do everything together. We talk and we're silly. We know life's short to, always be so serious. So as you can see, my very big pug. So things like that, and he reminds me quite often not to take things so to heart all the time, that life's too short. So, and I'm trying to think about one of the funniest things. Getting engaged. He surprised me during the Harry Chapin show he does every year. I thought he was getting an award, so they asked me to come up on stage to give it to him, and the sign, it was all wrapped, and I had to open it, and it said, "Will you marry me?" So that is, a very good memory.
That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So, and he's lucky I said yes in front of all those people. So, yes, that was a great memory.
Yeah, sounds good.
Please welcome Frank's girlfriend, Tammy Pendergast.
Tammy, I am in love with you. Will you please marry me? Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, my fiancé, Tammy Pendergast.
So, is there anything else you'd like to share?
I would say this to people who don't know about Prune Belly: read about it, understand it, support the cause, because it's an important one. If you are lucky enough to meet somebody with Prune Belly, make sure they become your friend, or because they're all good eggs. They're all kind, and I've not come across a Prune Belly person who isn't kind-hearted, and I think because of what you guys go through, it makes you understanding and kind and special and unique, and getting it out there and listening to your stories and understanding what warriors you are is the best thing you can do.
Yep, that's part of the reason I started this channel too, is because not many people know about Prune Belly, and I think it's time we get everybody's aspect out there, from the parents, the survivors, spouses, siblings, and even doctors.
Yeah, even when I go to my own doctors, I ask them if they know about it. And my own primary care doctor actually did one of his studies in college in rare childhood diseases. So he was very up to date on Prune Belly and understood it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So most of my doctors go, "What is that?" But he did not. He knew exactly what it was, and he did his, studies to become a doctor in rare childhood diseases.
Yeah,
So,
I know it's definitely rare to get a adult doctor who knows much about prune belly.
no, and the thing is, going to the doctor, I know the parents, have their own challenges, but when you become adults, it's really important for your doctor to understand what your needs are, because your needs are not always in that little box they want to shove everybody in. So it's important for your doctor to understand it. So if you have information about it, share it, whatever you can give the doctor. And, hopefully your doctor, wants to do the right thing and looks it up themselves and, gets the information. So,
Yeah.
and it's important to make sure you have a detailed medical history, and that whoever, whether it be a parent, a sibling, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, your husband, your wife, knows it and has it available. Because when you get sick, they're the ones that are communicating with the doctors. And Frank will tell you, the few times he's been in the hospital, I will not leave until I know he's gotten what he needs. And I've driven the nurses and the doctors literally crazy. And I said, I don't know about you, but I can do this all night long. So he needs this. And once he gets this, I'm going to go home. So it's a win-win for you. So yes, you guys need someone to fight on your side. So
Yeah. So just one more question. If the audience had questions for you, would you be willing to come back on and answer them?
absolutely. Sure.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I think that's just about everything. Everyone, if you liked the video, please like and subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss a video. And share the video. Together we can hashtag spread prune belly awareness. I'll see you next week.
For a long time, I seemed unique from a very early age. Asking why, feeling weak, living within a cage, wondering if I am the only one.
What was I supposed to make of my limitations? How much more should I take of this situation? Can it be I am the only one?
The only one. The only one.
All throughout, I found out what love's about, leaving no doubt I'll survive. Channel the drive, not deprived. Feel alive.
Do you know how it feels to be different? At times you think you are the only one who exists with the pain of not being the same. When you got brothers and sisters that don't share the same last name or share the same blood, but share the same battle. Some days are real good, some days are just a hassle. Operations to doctor visit, you are not alone. So I wrote this to let you know you don't have to be alone.
The only one.
You don't have to be
The only one.
These days, there are ways through the haze to sing His praise. We gather here with prayers held dear, wanting to erase all pain. be. We need to spread the word.
Show the world I'm not the only one. No, no. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for this community. Thank you, Lord, for the thread we share. Thank you, Lord, for this unity. Thank you, Lord, for the power of care. Thank you,
The
Lord.
Prune Belly Syndrome Network is a volunteer organization devoted to patient support and education of the medical community about this rare condition.
1 in 40,000 live births result in prune belly syndrome, and all of them have all or some of their abdominal muscles missing.
50% will not survive their second birthday.
Our goal is to change the medical profession's perception of prune belly syndrome as a hopeless condition
and to educate and promote an interest among the community to do further research into the causes of the syndrome
and more effective treatments.
www.prunebelly.org.
You can help.
Thank you, Lord, for this community. Thank you, Lord, for the thread we share. Thank you, Lord, for this unity. Thank you, Lord, for the power of care. Thank you, Lord, for showing me I'm not the only one.
If you don't know what prune belly is, please go to www.prunebelly.org